Traders at UBA say Tuesday's payment of the 130.5 billion naira OMO maturities and FX retail refund on Thursday gave some relief to liquidity challenges in the market. Ifeoma Onyejekwe, a fixed income trader at UBA, joins me now to recap this week's trading activity. Thank you so much for your time today, Ifeoma. Let's look at how the market has been so far this week.
Thank you, Kenneth, for having me. So the market this week has been very, very, very quiet. Last week, there was a CRR debit at the end of Friday, so that spilled into this week, and that gave a lot of challenge for buying and selling in the market. However, like you rightly said, there was a payment of 130.51 billion naira of OMO maturities on Tuesday, and then yesterday there was FX retail refund, so that helped to alleviate some of the liquidity challenges in the industry. However, today was also the FX retail auction, so that also took out the relief of liquidity that we found. Also during the week, there was an initial announcement by the CBN that they were going to stop the FPIs having access to the OMO auction, and that rattled the market as our foreign investors were very concerned as to what would happen to their current OMO investments and also what will happen going forward. But that prompted the CBN officials to take the news as false, and then it returned some calm to offshore investors. Also during the week, there was an OMO auction where 90 billion was offered and sold compared to 330 billion that was offered the previous week. And stock rates were maintained on the short, mid, and long tenor bills at 7%, 8.5%, and 10.1% respectively. Also during the week, the CBN special bills was matured on March 1st, and it was rolled over by the CBN. As we will recall, at the beginning of the year, the CBN released special OMO bills to help with liquidity challenges. Some of the bank CRR assets that they held with them, they converted it into special bills, and the initial rate was at 0.5. But this rollover, it was done at 2%. However, the CBN reversed it back to former rate at 0.5%, citing technical challenges. And in the bond space, was also very, very, very quiet. But we noticed some slight demand observed at the mid to long ends of the curve. And major interests were also on the auction bonds, as the 2027, 2035, and the 2030 and 2045 bonds. These traders are expecting a huge coupon payment of about 212.90 billion this month. So the expectation is for people to buy before you stock as the coupon payment begins to roll in from the 14th of this month.
Quite a packed week there when you put it that way. But let's get back to the liquidity situation, and I would like to get what your outlook is for next week.
Well, I expect next week to comment on a very calm note. This liquidity challenge has been a very, very tough one with the money, with the overnight and OBD rates even rising in the market. However, as the week goes on, like this month, especially from the middle of the month, we expect a total of 690 billion of OMO maturities to come in. And although, like I said, about 212 billion of coupon payments will come in. So even though the market has been quite tight for now, but as from the middle of the month, we will see a lot of relief as maturities begin to flow into the market.
Oh, now let's get into your expectation for the OMO auctions. We understand that, yes, 90 billion was the figure compared to 330 billion offered the previous week. Looking into next week, do you think we're going to see that trend continue lower with the lower amount being offered?
Well, we're not very sure. It was actually a shocker to the market. The expectation was for the CBN to continue increasing their offer since they laid out, the CBN and GMO laid out their borrowing strategy for the rest of the year. So it was actually a shocker to see that they offered less than was offered last week. So we're not exactly sure what would happen next week. We are just watching and seeing. However, there will be an NC on Wednesday. We still await the release of the second quarter calendar for the year. So we're not exactly sure how much will be rolled over the NCB auction.
Oh, now let's get into what you think of how the central bank should go around attracting that foreign portfolio investors into the market. You know, yes, they debunked the rule around the phasing out of the OMO auctions. But I'd like you to look at how we've seen this management go forward so far, this liquidity management so far. And also looking at the reserves movement, we're seeing oil prices continue to rally in the recent days. What's your take on how this will impact the reserves so far?
Well, it's been a very good news for Nigeria to see crude oil prices increase. However, since the GMO has already outlined price for borrowing, I'm not exactly sure that it's going to impact their structure. Definitely be good for the federal government, but for the financial market, we're not exactly sure how the increase in crude oil price is going to impact the borrowing program already set forth by the